All right, guys, we're back. Pastor's in a corner. We're down one. We decided to kick Dan out because he talks too much and makes these videos like 30 minutes instead of 5, like they should. No, just kidding. Dan is on vacation. We have stand-in Dan here. I'm sure he'll be much more quiet. But we're thankful that he can get away with his family to get some refreshment because you need it. You need it in this time. But we are back, kind of. So we're doing our first ever, is it first ever?
This is our first ever Church on the Lawn.
Yeah, first ever Church on the Lawn service on Sunday. And so, Dennis, how should we think about this? You know, how might Scripture just inform, our regathering on Sunday?
To me, it's just that our series in 1 Thessalonians has been just awesome because of the timeliness of it. Clearly, the Lord has been leading us in so many areas through this letter. And I just think as we get to regather this week, our passage from last week is just spot on. It's pretty impressive. And so when I thought about the tail end of that, where Paul is admonishing us to rejoice always, pray always, and to give thanks in all things, that's exactly what we should be doing. Because this regathering as a church on lawn, it's not optimum. If we had our choice, we would probably not do it this way. But given the situation, it's a good thing, and so we should really just embrace it, give thanks for it, and rejoice in it, and to pray for good weather, pray for all of the elements of the service so that it can be a really great time of regathering. And then the other piece of it that struck me was, our operating principles going through this entire pandemic have been, from the get-go, to honor the authorities over us and to love one another well, which is essentially what that tail end of 1 Thessalonians is talking about. It's talking about, live at peace within the authority structures that we have, and to really seek what's good for everyone else, which is just another way of saying to love one another well. And so we have an opportunity to really put that into practice this week. And so we're going to honor the authorities, which means we all know what social distancing means. We all know what the rules are. We should just adhere to that. And we should just, be careful when we're walking around, bring our masks and wear them when you can social distance and things like that, and to love one another well, realizing that there's a spectrum of views as to how much precaution or how little precaution to take. We just need to respect one another's position and err on the side of grace as we do that. And so that's what we'll be doing during this. And we're putting those guidelines out to help people understand what that will look like. But to me, that's it. That's in a nutshell. And I'm just so thankful to the Lord that He's kind of laid that out for us in His Word. And again, not planning on our part, it's just the grace of God.
Yeah, so I just wanted to maybe drill down a little bit more deeply on some of those guidelines and instructions for the Sunday gathering. And, one of the things is that if you don't feel comfortable coming, we don't want you to feel as if you're second-class citizen or being a bad Christian or anything like that. We hope that you can feel still included in the body by watching the service. We're going to stream the service at 10 a.m., but the nice thing is we can also record it and post it to be watched later if that's kind of been your thing. I know even for me as the pastor, sometimes I've watched the videos, at different times over the course of a Sunday and gone back on different days. So we hope that you can still be connected. We're going to be here. We're going to be here in Lincroft as long as the Lord wills it to be so. And so you don't need to rush back per se. We just want you to feel comfortable with that level and, come back when you're ready and when the Lord has been leading you. But for those of you who are excited to gather, we are excited with you. Just a couple things about how to work. We'll have 3 sections for seating set up. We're going to have some seats under the big tree by the mission house, the house on the property, and we're really reserving that for those that really do need to be in the shade and really can't be walking around all on the lawn and everything like that. So please, if you're able-bodied and feeling okay, just plop down in the middle of the field there and pretend like you're at the beach and kind of bring that setup. It's BYOE, bring your own everything, so chairs and sunscreen and all of that stuff, like what you would need for some time outside at the beach, bring that. Maintain good space between one another. And we will also have some tents set up by the Pebble patio, which will be for nursing mothers and mothers of with really young kids. We don't want, your 10-year-old hanging out under the tent, but, if you got babies and very small children, that need the shade, we'll have those tents set up by the Pebble patio as well.
Yeah, and also for the, so the building will be open for restroom facilities. Ideally, people are gonna come having taken care of business ahead of time. But if you need to use the facilities, the building will be open, so enter in through the skylight, through the skylight area. Someone will be there with a station with disinfectant and things like that, and just monitoring number of people in the bathroom at any one time. But the building will be open for that if needed.
Yeah. And so let's talk about masks, because masks are probably one of the most contentious things, right? And so again, we want to use common sense in how we approach these things, and we also just are believing that people can make good choices for themselves as well. And so when you're coming from your car to sitting and you're unable to social distance, we'd ask you please consider wearing your mask.
Yeah.
And during the service, when everyone is seated and settled, we're not. You can, not have a mask on,
Right, that's a personal choice. You don't
Right.
need to have it on, but certainly you can leave it on. If
Right. But we would ask you during the service, like we are going to do some singing because singing is part of worshiping
Yes.
the Lord. So during the songs, we do ask you to wear a mask. And, you're not going to have to wear a mask for the whole service, but for the 3 minutes that we're singing, there does seem to be some evidence that, singing really puts out more particles for the spread of the virus than normal talking. And so while we're singing for those 3 minutes, please wear your mask. And once the song is over, you can take it off.
Yeah, it's just a great opportunity for us to compromise, right? And it's that idea of loving one another. You're going to have a spectrum of beliefs around that some people are going to feel like you absolutely don't need it. We're outside. You're going to have people that think it's just wise to put it on. And so it's just a good area of compromise. We'll just wear it during singing, and then there's no questions.
Right.
And as we go forward, because the other aspect of the church on the lawn is probably going to be our mode of operating for a while, and we're going to be working this out as we go. And there
Right.
may be changes as we go, and that may be one of the areas that we'll look at and say, is it necessary to keep doing that?
Yeah. And so if you're watching this, I will assume that you're on the LBC YouTube channel, and on this channel you'll also find a bunch of other videos, messages for all about family inclusive worship, and messages for parents to watch from Pastor Dan and our family ministry director, Linda. And I would totally check those out before you come, because we're going to have to get along. Kids are going to be there. It's probably be a little more rambunctious than we're typically used to, but it could also be a lot of fun, because I know my kids, when they get rambunctious, they are still fun too. So.
Yeah, and I think that point especially, it's low key. We want to really just celebrate and enjoy being together. We'll be outside. There'll be plenty of distractions. It's okay.
Right.
Let's rejoice being together, and let's worship together outside with the Lord, in spite of it all.
Yeah.
In spite of
Yeah.
it all. Yeah.
Well, hey, LBC family, we are excited to regather with you. We have missed you so much, and we just are longing to see your face. And so we hope that you'll join us on Sunday, June 28th at 10 a.m., or tuning into the live stream to celebrate our faithful God as we wrap up our series in 1 Thessalonians. Thanks.